All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a great show planned for you. We're going to talk about, of course, the Queen's passing and everything that it is distracting you from. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a great show planned for you. Remember, today is a call-in show at 224-400-MARF. And remember, you can also get notifications directly over at our website. Now, on marfooglenews.com, on top of getting notifications directly from us, you can also sign up for our email alerts. Now, I also want to remind you, today's show has a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today. Just look for today's thumbnail, Taiwan Z-Day. Of course, referencing the invasion of Taiwan in the future. Again, when you click on that, you will find every single article, tweet, video, picture, document, including some special videos there that we have attached. On top of that, in the overflow, there is web-only content. The stuff that could not fit into a 2-hour time period is all right there. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So, we have a lot to get in. I want to thank Kanos Kid, Michael De La Roca, Survival Game, of course, I Buy Houses. Thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you for your support. And then Holiday Co., Hardy Sanag, Deanna Gremez, thank you, Wes Romans, and everyone else that popped in for the last show. All right, we're going to go right into it. We have the Queen, of course, passed. So, the overall statement that I've been getting is that this is a distraction, right? Well, the passing of a queen, of course, or the passing of anybody, in this case, she was 96 years old. So, yes, they could very well put that on front page, but that would make front page no matter when it happens. Now, as far as what's going on around the world, somebody mentioned right before the show that bills passed in the middle of the night or something like that. I haven't received what bills those were, but I'm going to look into it. Because it would be a good time to, get things through, because this, of course, they say, never let a good disaster go to waste. It says the Queen perishes aged 96 after 70 years of remarkable service, leaving Britain and the world in mourning. It says the Queen has tragically perished at age 96, marking an end to her historic reign and sparking an outpouring of grief around the world. In a somber statement, Buckingham Palace today confirmed Her Majesty Elizabeth II, the longest-serving monarch in British history, had passed away, making her son, Charles, the king. So, of course, my entire life, as far as the royal family, I remember when I was much younger about when Princess Di had her crash and it, reverberated around the planet. And of course, I've been watching along with all of you with the whole Harry drama and the Meghan Markle stuff, and of course, the Prince Andrew stuff. That is its whole own bag of stuff. And this is all stuff that's kind of held down the royal family in recent times. Well, now this happens. Now Charles is the king. I'd love to hear what your opinion is. Again, 224-400-MARF. Today is a call-in. But this is a huge deal worldwide. Again, I talked about earlier on my video that the royal family virtually, they don't have much power, but there are a couple of things happening that are related to her passing, including they will shut down parliamentary business for 10 days. Also, Parliament is where they would have to do any kind of military action. So if something happened in the next 10 days, I don't know if that means that they can't do military action. Dex, when we went through the rules, does it look like to you that they can? They would, of course, have to do something, right? They would have to do an emergency. Wouldn't they have to violate that if there had to be some sort of military action done, like if they got attacked or something like that? It seems to me like they
which rules are you talking about? I'm sorry.
The 10-day period where they can't do parliamentary
I didn't
business.
read through and find anything that there was a contingency, but I could only imagine. I mean, I can't imagine that they would not have some sort of contingency. But the point being is, if Parliament's not in session, if they're not conducting business, and their all focus is on this, it's very difficult for them to just switch gears and deal with something else, right? I mean, it's not impossible. So, if something tragic were to happen at that time, or catastrophic, I imagine they would do whatever they needed to do. But it's obviously, it's not the same as if they're in there doing their job every day, ready to roll, arguing the points, making quick decisions, and doing what they're supposed to do, right? Totally different scenario given the state of things, and it's rightfully so. And I would hope that nobody else in the world would use this time period, to cause turmoil for the UK. But if they did, this would obviously be an opportunistic time for a very evil person.
Yeah, if somebody was to do something horrible to the UK, or if some horrible event happened, it would be really bad timing, considering the next 10 days they're supposed to not do any kind of parliamentary business. Would that, of course, be totally canceled if something indeed happened? I don't know. Another thing that happened that the world covered today is there was a double rainbow that appeared over Buckingham Palace before Her Majesty passed away. It said a double rainbow has formed over Buckingham Palace following the announcement of the perishing of Her Majesty the Queen. Members of the public have been gathering outside the palace to pay their respects. People had been loitering outside since earlier in the day as news of her declining situation emerged. Now, one thing, the official announcement came out at about 11 a.m., I believe. And I don't know if this is, I don't know if Ilea confirmed this, but one of our mods actually got a text way before, like 4 hours before that announcement, from one of her friends in the UK. And they said that the Queen was not well, or that she had passed. And she somehow she posted that text. So I just wonder if locals had some sort of knowledge of this before, or did some bell ring or something? How did anybody know that before, unless they were, I don't know, somehow connected? Was there news that went out that she was rapidly declining in the previous days? I didn't see any of the news that said that. And we follow a lot of this stuff very closely. So after a heavy downpour, of course, there was a double rainbow, which is pretty cool. This is, of course, outside Buckingham Palace, and a double rainbow popped up in its place, which it's harder to see the second rainbow, but it's a huge, huge rainbow there. So were you there? Are you watching from this location? Again, I know that we have folks over there that are watching. Did you go to Buckingham Palace? And then wildfire smoke heads to Seattle, air quality effects unclear. So I placed this in here. I know that I have a lot of local viewers as far as that are from my area. Obviously, we have gone through something that not many places in the world have gone through. I know that California and Oregon have gone through it. But we went through a couple years ago one of the craziest events ever, which was fire smoke that basically engulfed our cities. Every city was just bright orange. You could not see more than 10 feet. It was something biblical. The whole sky was red. In fact, I'll try to pull up some pictures by the end of the show of what it looked like. But it was something out of a dystopian future end of the world movie. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. That's how crazy it looked. The entire sky was orange. It was bad. Now, apparently, there is some stuff incoming, so you may see this again. It says, here comes the smoke we've been dreading. It says, winds from the north and northeast will bring smoke from fires in southern British Columbia and the North Cascades into the Puget Sound region on Friday and Saturday, according to Jeff Makowski of the National Weather Service Seattle. Also, another local story here, and I think people on the West Coast should pay attention to every single kind of earthquake that happens. And mind you, I think that the entire country should actually pay attention to the seismic activity on the West Coast. And the reason why is because a couple of these seismic events that can happen here will affect the entire country. 21 different states are preparing for Cascadia subduction zone. You think, well, Cascadia subduction zone, if you know what it is actually only the 3 states, right? It's a subduction zone, or a huge fault that runs along all the way from Canada to the beginning of California. In fact, about the end of it is where the San Andreas kind of starts. So if that's if the Cascadia subduction zone goes, it is the 2 plates. The plate that the North American plate, the whole plate that we are on, smashes in. It would cause not only a 9.0 earthquake, but it would also cause a tsunami, a guaranteed tsunami if we have a full margin rupture. It is something that local FEMA and emergency management is obviously preparing for. In fact, I will be showing in the next couple weeks, they are placing towers. They're placing all sorts of things in Seattle and around the area, which I thought was pretty interesting. And they are overtime retrofitting the brick buildings. So I feel like they are definitely kicking it up a notch, which is a good thing as far as being prepared. But some of their emergency videos they've put out are just pretty bad. They basically have us walking to wherever we need to be. They showed a simulation of somebody that was in the Seattle fault earthquake, basically walking from downtown Seattle, I think it was, to like Covington or something. So imagine that. Imagine if possibly more than 1 million people are displaced with like that. If Cascadia subduction zone happens, we're talking about millions and millions of people will be displaced. People will be walking towards Vegas. People will be walking towards the Midwest. That's why 21 states are preparing. So whenever we see any kind of earthquakes, we always cover it because, again, any kind of seismic activity around here, especially the more uncommon ones, definitely pique everybody's interest. It says a shallow magnitude 3.8 earthquake was reported early morning near Seattle. It says, according to the United States Geological Survey, the quake hit on Thursday, September 8th, 2022, and about 1:08 local time, so this morning, basically right after midnight. And it said that shallow earthquakes are felt more strongly than deeper ones as they are closer to the surface. The exact magnitude, epicenter, and the depth of the quake might be revised within the next few hours, which it did not. It was about a 3.8. Which it's not giant when you think of all of the disasters that happened, but when you think of that big of one happening where it happened, you think, hey, maybe some stuff is releasing, maybe pressure is releasing, or something could be on the way. I remind you that because anyone on the West Coast or in really the whole west side of the country should have go bags. They should have food and water by now. If you don't, then I would highly recommend do some research on what will happen in the Cascadia subduction zone. I also questioned Chris Goldfinger, one of the lead seismologists on the subject. He has his own TED Talks. He said, now, this was one of the questions I asked him. I said, could the Cascadia subduction zone either trigger other earthquakes, such as, and I gave the example of San Andreas, or even volcanoes, such as Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier? And he said 20 years ago, the entire scientific community would have said, absolutely not. Now they say, absolutely, it's not debated. They know that big earthquakes like that not only can cause other earthquakes, even on the other side of the planet, but they can also cause volcanic activity. So they do say the emergency management here just a couple days ago said that if, say, all these people were worried about Mount Rainier going off because of cloud coming out, and it possibly, they say it was a cloud that was just looked like something steaming I showed you last night. But they said, don't worry about that. Really, that's not even on our radar compared to the future 9.0 earthquake. And they said even in the last one that they have recorded, that Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and all those did not erupt. So they were trying to make us feel good. Like, oh, don't worry. It will only be a 9.0 earthquake and subsequent tsunami. But don't worry. It will probably not trigger all of the volcanoes along the Ring of Fire. But who knows? And then first synthetic embryos. The scientific breakthrough raises serious ethical questions. So we have covered a lot of the different movements forward in this area, and it's pretty scary for some. And again, I think this is playing God. It says, children, even some who are too young for school, know you can't make a baby without a sperm and an egg. But a team of researchers in Israel have called into questions the basics of what we teach children about the birds and the bees, and created a mouse embryo using just stem cells. It lived for 8 days, about half a mouth's gestation period, inside a bioreactor in the lab. In 2021, a research team used the same artificial womb to grow natural mouse embryos, fertilized from sperm and eggs, which lived for 11 days. The lab-created womb, or external uterus, was a breakthrough in itself, as embryos could not survive in petri dishes. The little dishes that go under the microscope. It says if you're picturing a kind of silicone womb, think again. The external uterus is a rotating device filled with glass bottles and nutrients. And it says this movement simulates how blood and nutrients flow to the placenta. It says out of the placenta. And it says the device also replicates the atmospheric pressure of the mouse uterus. So imagine, and by the way, if they're doing this publicly, there's probably some country in the world doing it privately and secretly. So that's very creepy. If you are interested in this, not only go over to marfooglenews.com, but I would highly recommend you go over to Trinity Red or Blue Pill Hi-Ho Kermit the Frog's channel. One of our mods has done a detailed, in-depth video on this. It's called Hybrids, Clones, DNA, Synthetic Embryo with Brain and Beating Heart Without Eggs or Sperm. If you go over to this video, again, don't worry if you can't find her channel. It is linked on our website. In fact, if you just go down to, if you go to today's show, you will see that it's actually in the main news. So just click on that right there and it'll bring you right to her channel so you can subscribe. All right. And then again, she goes more in depth and deep into that. If you want to call about this or any other story today, give us a call at 224-400-MARV. Okay, let's open up the chat here for a second, and thank you, Noel J. Hardy, thank you guys. Wes, appreciate you. Justice Roberts is retiring, somebody says. Deanna Gramez, hello again. I just wanted to thank Dan, my talented hubby, for connecting the EMP device and making another rabbit run for the boy rabbit we thought was a girl. Oops, baby bunnies on the way. That's awesome. You know who else raises bunnies is Survival Game. She's got, I believe, actually, I don't know. I heard that they had some sort of Survival Game. You can let them know. I think you had a bunch of bunnies pass, right? And then Kano's Kid, thank you. A and J, thank you for subscribing, and welcome everybody else that has popped in. Thank you to D-Live for featuring us on the main page yesterday. I appreciate that. Jammer, one of my mods, let me know that, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you guys. All right, and then let's go over to, let's see here. Yes, so here's the video here. Before we go to Greece warns another European conflict, we're going to be going over to the phones, and we're going to get in today. Let me make sure I open this up. Dex, did we end up getting Chad on the line? Again, I know you have to still get them on, but it looks like...
Yeah, I've got Chad.
Okay. So, well, he is entering. We have Chad, a first-time caller. I will, again, remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. When you go over to any of our affiliates like this, one, these are all products that we think could either save your life, help you live, or live comfortably during a disaster. EMP Shield, what it does is it grounds the signal from an EMP or a CME, like a Carrington level event, a sun event, a solar event. in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your car, before it can fry your RVs, your boats, your motorcycles, your generators, your home. Again, they make a different device for pretty much anything you can think of that you want to keep running throughout an EMP event or a CME event. On top of that, and all these devices come with a third feature, which is lightning protection. So if you live in the Midwest and have a lot of lightning, this is a great thing to wire into your home, because if you do get struck, again, even if it does cause any damage, they even have a $25,000 insurance policy. Again, 100% lightning guarantee backed by that policy. It's 100% American made. It's a veteran-owned business. It is a real company. These guys are, again, quite a family. They haven't sent us a Christmas video last year, but the year before, they actually went around the entire factory and sent us a Christmas video. Now, one thing that has changed is that company has been now, since after we worked with them, when T-Man was in office, they actually grew a whole lot, and that's because they got contracts with the likes of DHS, DOD, and of course, they are now on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. So it's a great company to support. It's 100% American made, and it will help support your favorite channel at the same time as getting $50 off per device. That always stacks on any sale that they're doing, so if they have a current sale, that will add an additional $50 off per device every time you go. All right, that's again marfooglenews.com/EMP. Let's get Chad on the line. Chad, do we have you?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, what's going on? So you wanted to
Can you
talk?
hear?
Yes, you wanted to talk about playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. Basically, I was calling in and I was talking with Dex, and I noticed that a lot of people, stuff that you're saying is coming true today. Like, there's a video that, Ron Paul had about 11 years ago. And it also talks about, and it happens to be in like 2036 or 2032, where he ends up taking, Xi ends up taking over America. And if you look at the video, it holds true today. Even when you see the video, it freaks you out because the guy laughs at the end and he says, now we own America. And then the whole class laughs, and he's laughing and the class laughs. And it's a freaky video to even see. And that's like I said, 10 to 11 years ago. And there's other videos out there. If you go back and, I'm 51 now. I just turned 51. Yesterday was my birthday. And there's a video out there about IBM, where a guy in a trench coat. And when you look at it in the trench coat, this guy ends up putting stuff in meat in his pocket, and then he walks out between a scanner. I don't know if he was, thing in the hand. And I don't know if that's what it was or any of that kind of stuff. But the cop stops him at the end and he says, "Hey, you forgot your receipt." And then it says IBM technology. And it's a freaky thing. But that was, I'm 51, and that was when I was in my 30s. So it is just one of those kind of freaky things. And then plus on top of, the devil advocate thing I was telling Dex was, would you really want to, Adam, would you really want to survive something that traumatically, let's say something did happen, I'm not saying that I wanted to, but just say if it did, and you're living, in a hole or your bunker area, and you're living there for, 10 years. Think about it. 10 years. I mean, without an argument with your wife for 10 years, you can't walk away. So, I mean, that's like you going into your bedroom and living with your significant others in a bedroom for 10 years. I think
it's
hard.
We're thinking about it in today's terms. If it did happen, it's part of humanity that we have a will to survive. So yes, I think that we would all rather live 10 years in a bunker than be out. But yes, thinking about it right now, probably thinking like, that would be horrific. I'm sure there are probably some out there that would, grab their weapon of choice and probably leave peacefully, if you know what I mean. But again, that is some people. I think most people, nobody would like that. No, especially think about the people that build these tiny bunkers, the do-it-yourself or in the backyard ones, and they're very tiny, and you would have to be there at least, I think it's like a year or more. Think about if you had to be in there for 10 years or something and stuff was going on up above. I couldn't imagine that. That would be so horrible. And some of these, the really, the cheaper bunkers, they're very tiny. And I couldn't imagine a whole family going down there. And I could imagine it for a storm, but no, not for years. And that's another thing. That's why people, some decide that they don't want to stick around. I think that would be a thing if SHTF happened. Go ahead.
Exactly. And, and I just got to thinking, like, I see all prepper people say stuff, and basically no one ever mentions those kind of things where it's like, if you had to survive for 10 years, can you be in your bedroom for 10 years with your wife arguing? You can't walk away. You know what I mean? Like you got to solve this problem now, here and now. And then if you're even sharing bunkers with, scads of people, I mean, other infidelities will start happening after 10 years. So then what would occur with that kind of stuff? And these are things where, like when I remember when prepping first started, they never talked about any of these kind of things because I guess people want to say I'm better than that. But unfortunately, you got to understand that, when you start an argument, you can't walk away from it. You got to solve it then and there, or whatever it is, how big it is, or any of these kind of things. So
or the people,
I was just, trying to play devil advocate by saying, some people need to like really think about these things. And I know I don't, I mean, I say with my mom, she's 87 years old. And I mean, if anything happened, I'm just walking outside and just saying, let's all go together.
Well, there is one channel, Prepper Nurse actually does his whole channel. He walks around for 45 minutes and he'll talk about very, very different situations that may happen, and he actually kind of war games through it. But I also think of the people that think, that you wouldn't do anything horrible if SHTF happened. Down the street, the pastor down the street could be the one that robs you for your food. That's the thing that is going to happen when if an SHTF situation happen. You're going to see pastors that take lives. You're going to see people that are just normally the most amazing people in the world. If they're protecting their family, they're going to do whatever they need to do, and they're going to worry about them and themselves. So that's something that, of course, especially in America, is going to be especially terrifying. Think about how armed we are. That's why all of the dystopian movies show all of these bandits and groups and people that just come and take everything you have. That is a reality. That's something that would happen.
Yeah. Do you know why did they show you that kind of stuff? Because they have to tell you, and a lot of people fail to realize that movies do tell you the predictions of what things are to come. Like I said, you talked about Demolition Man. You can go back to seeing that and see that all of that kind of stuff has come true.
Yes. No, I get you. Did you cut out?
Oh, no, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
People live in, underground and everything else like that. These are things that are coming true, video phones, that stuff come true. When I watched the movie the first time, when I seen it, when I was, a young man, I was like, wait, no, this can't happen. And then all of a sudden, yes, it did. And then unfortunately, it's starting to take place now. So these are just things where I just want to make people go, watching movies, like you said, it does tell you, things to come, and that's the reason why a lot of people get freaked out. But I've always heard that rich people have to tell you what's going to happen. The way that they tell you is not they're not going to come out and say, yes, this is going to happen. They have to show it in movies or do something like that. So that's all I had to say. And, I like your show. Like I said, first time caller, long time listener. You and Dex, you guys do a great job. Your wives, they're fantastic for letting you guys do this kind of stuff. And I want to say thanks to them also.
Well, again,
and I also want to say thanks to the fans.
Chad. Oh, I'm sorry, to the mods? Is that what you said?
No, I want to say thanks to the Mafia family.
All right. Well, thank you, Chad. And also thank you for this video. I don't know if I've seen this yet, so we will attach this. This was a Ron Paul ad. That's pretty insane. This is 2011. So we'll attach this to the website. But not only that, thank you, Chad, for calling in. Great subject. And then homework for you. Go watch the interview with Joe Rogan. Go to Spotify. Watch the full Joe Rogan episode with Mark Zuckerberg talking about AR. I'm going to do a video on it here soon because it's exactly what I've been predicting, and it's closer than people think. It is incredibly freaky. We're talking about holograms. Instead of you going to work, it would be a hologram going to work. And you think that that's some sort of 2040 thing. That's like a 2023, 2024 thing that is going to be happening. So, again, crazy stuff. Go watch that interview and call back, okay?
All right, I definitely will.
All right. Well, thank you, Chad, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. That was Chad from Wisconsin, first-time caller. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate your call. But yeah, I will be doing a video on it. It blows me away. I've told you guys about this future that we're going to be in, and when you listen to it and what they're doing, there was a lot of clues, and I almost wanted to break down what he said because he said that they're currently working on three or four devices ahead, and these devices are what we're talking about. You show up as a hologram to work. You learn jujitsu or karate by going into your AR goggles. You're really in your living room, and your instructor is in front of you telling you what to do. So you see somebody standing in your living room, and it's a real person. They've got a head unit, and they see you standing in their living room. And you can even put yourself in a virtual space, lay out the walls, and then they can teach you karate. They can teach you boxing. They can teach you whatever. If you saw that one, let me know, because, man, it's what I've been predicting for 5 years, and of course, a lot of people saw this coming, but nobody saw it coming this quick. Very incredible stuff. All right, and then Greece warns another European war could be on the horizon as Turkey hints at the possibility of an invasion. This is and Turkey, again, Turkey keeps popping up in everything. It said that Greece is calling on its allies to condemn Turkey over recent aggressive rhetoric from, of course, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has hinted at the possibility of open conflict as tensions rise between the two countries. In letters dated Monday and Tuesday to NATO and the EU and to the UN that reported by the Associated Press, Greek Foreign Minister Nikos Dendias called for all three institutions to rebuke Ankara over Erdogan's comments. Dendias said that the allowing Turkey to continue threatening Greece would run the risk of yet another conflict in Europe, in an apparent reference to the conflict in Ukraine. It says, by not doing so in time or by underestimating the seriousness of the matter, we risk witnessing again a situation similar to what is currently unfolding in some other part of our continent. Dendias said, this is something none of us would really wish to see. In a letter to NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg, the top Greek diplomat said, quote, the Turkish attitude is destabilizing factor for NATO's unity and cohesion, weakening the southern flank of the alliance at a moment of crisis. So one thing, too, is this is just my personal opinion, I have heard of so many shady things going on with Turkey, and they are part of this alliance that they wouldn't let UKR in for the longest time because of certain things that were going on. And and of course, some places like Finland and Sweden, they didn't want to be a part of it. They were very neutral on everything. Now you have kind of everybody setting their red lines and people setting up these massive kind of unfolding conflicts going on. Greece and Turkey. This is another hot point. Now we have another flashpoint, this one again in Europe. So this is shaping out. I mean, you can almost see where this conflict would take place in the world. You know, everywhere where people would be up, border to border, sending troops over. This is craziness. So, and Turkey is a NATO member. So, crazy stuff. Again, if you have comments on this or anything else, give me a call at 2244-00-MARF. And then Vlad says it wants to restrict destinations for UKR's grain exports. It says out of Vladivostok, it says that Vlad on Wednesday warned of a looming global food crisis and said he would discuss amending a landmark grain deal with UKR to limit the countries that can receive cargo shipments. Vlad on Wednesday said that Moscow had done everything it could to ensure UKR was able to export its grain, but that problems on the global food market were likely to intensify and that a humanitarian catastrophe was looming. Another great channel that actually covered this well, and I judged them on what I've actually seen, is Redacted. Did a great show on this. The guy and his wife did a great breakdown of this, and I saw, and they actually called it. They said, the people are going to say that we're holding Vlad's water or whatever and being a supportist. You have to understand everything that is happening right now. Nobody can believe anything. But one thing that you can do is you can actually look at the data. The data says that only a few of these containers have gone where they essentially a few out of a ton have gone to where they are probably most needed. It says Vlad said that that his country had signed the deal in July, brokered by Turkey and the United Nations, on the understanding it would help alleviate surging food prices in the developing world. But instead, it was rich Western countries that were taking advantage of the deal. It says if we exclude Turkey in an intermediary country, then almost all grain exported from UKR is sent not to the poorest developing countries, but to the European Union countries. That was, of course, what Vlad said, and it said out of 87 ships, this is according to him, carrying 60,000 tons of products went to poor countries as he accused the West of acting as colonial states. So only 2 out of 87 of these containers, of these ships, whole ships of hundreds and hundreds of containers, if not 1,000 containers, went to where it was needed most. That is, of course, what he's saying. We take everything that is being said by any world country right now with a grain of salt, but the data does back that up for at least what we've seen. There was information on a UN website. So it said, once again, developing countries have simply been deceived and continued to be deceived. It is obvious that with this approach, the scale of food problems in the world will only increase, which can lead to an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. People starving. It says Vlad said he would look at limiting the destinations for grain and other food exports and would discuss the idea with Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan, who helped broker the deal to unlock exports from UKR's southern ports in July. Because, again, we've been told that it's Vlad's fault that all of this, the food stuff is happening. It's kind of like it takes two to tango. There's issues all over the place with the supply chain. In fact, there's a ton of supply chain issues right now, and it's not looking like it's getting any better. Everybody is kind of holding their breath, waiting for everything to go back to normal since before CV, when, again, it's like, where did that go in the first place? Like, remember when just like 2 years ago we were all locked inside our homes? It's kind of nuts where we are just a few years, and that's all because everybody complied. So what do you think? Give me a call at 2244-00-MARF. Blinken announces $2 billion in military aid. Again, this is another $2 billion. $2 billion in military aid to UKR, Europe during unscheduled visit to Kiev. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made an unscheduled visit to Kiev on Thursday as the Biden administration announced major new military aid worth more than $2 billion for UKR and other European countries threatened by Vlad. So this isn't only going to UKR. Notice they are actually including military gear for most likely these NATO countries very close by. It says, in meetings with senior UKR officials, Blinken said that the B administration had notified Congress of its intent to provide $2 billion in long-term foreign military financing to UKR and 18 of its neighbors. Now we're just putting this equipment and money to 18 different countries. We'll foot the bill, guys. Don't worry. Oh, split check? No. We'll foot that one. We only have $30 trillion in debt. Don't worry, we got it. Our money is actually backed by debt. It makes sense. I promise. I'll put some together that makes this make. Or maybe we'll just omit it and keep giving money out. What do you guys think? Let me know. It says pending expected congressional approval. About $1 billion of that will go to UKR. And the rest will be divided among Albania, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Georgia, Greece, Kosovo, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, State Reform said. That's a lot of places where our stuff is going. The money will be going over there. Boom, boom, boom. It sounds like they're setting up for a WW3 situation. They're basically hooking up. They're putting our military gear all over Europe. And they can say, oh, well, we're just helping out with their stuff. But at the same time, that's our gear. Most likely is going to go along with, deployments of troops that are training them how to use it and do things with it. This is quite a trip. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, thank you everybody that popped in west of the West. Linda McDaniel, Just Ruth, Dub J, 315. Ugh. Yeah, that's a good ugh there. Let's see here. Oscar Anderson, what's going on? Craze Yoshi, Alia Atrades, Shane B, what's going on? Says G, just take Taiwan already. G, how much for a liver? Guns and water? Yeah, people are at that point, right? You say, hey, I have a really nice bathtub. I want to wake up in it and full of ice. Lisa Isbell, yeah, I wonder if you can do that voluntarily. I know that people wake up like that all the time there, but I wonder if you can actually be like, hey, can I volunteer? Waves to Marf, Kung Fu Grasshopper, what's going on? Stealth Mode, Roger Groves, Drops Family Garden, what's going on? Thanks for being here another time. Thank you for the attendance of, by the way, Aaliyah, Chance Paladin, Jammer, thank you guys for being there. Kamala's Crusty Sheets, Lisa R. Hall, one of my favorite people in the world. If you haven't checked out her channel, make sure to go do so. And thank you everybody that has just popped in. Let's see here. Actually, a bunch of new people just subscribed. Thank you guys. Welcome. Over on D-Live, Yobi. Hi, y'all. Hope you're all chilling well. And then thank you for the best fam ever, Nancy B. Wild. Jem, thank you also as well for being here again and again and again. Thank you so much for your thank you for your attendance. And then Deep State of Mind, Kimbria, I love Jesus forever. We have, of course, Skyhouse, Raging Boomer, and SG83. I'm assuming Sergeant 83. Thank you, and thank you. Again, thank you, Free Life, Stephen McMahon, and everybody else that just popped in. Again, appreciate you. Kanos Kid, thank you. And William Defoe, thank you for subscribing. Carol McLean, thank you. Appreciate that. Stephen McMahon says, I hope I perish in the first volley of boomers. I hope beforehand, what does that say? I hope beforehand I've done everything possible for the youngsters. I think that's where a lot of us are, just hoping that our kids are okay through it. Deanna Grimaz, again, thank you. Free Life Tass and Michael De La Roca, thank you guys for the super chats. Appreciate that. And then before we move on, we're actually going to be talking about the UN says credible accusations UKR children are forcibly being taken to Vlad's country. Again, I want to remind everybody, if you don't already have a solar or a gas-powered generator, I'd highly recommend looking into an Energy. This is a solar-powered generator that can run off of the sun. Not only that, it is one of the most modular systems out there. It can actually be extended up to 96 batteries. And what's even better yet, most people are going to probably get anywhere from 1 to 5 batteries with this. most one or two. When you click them together, they are portable. They actually latch, and you can take them with you and carry them with you. But also, they can be modded. So you can actually add a center unit that will actually triple the amount of input you can do. So instead of 4 panels, you can actually put up to 12 panels and plug them all in at the same time, which actually turns your charging into a third of the time. Or if you're using it at the same time as charging, you'll probably still be gaining power while you're using it. So that's what's really cool about this. marfooglenews.com/energy. It is absolutely silent. It makes absolutely no sound whatsoever. It doesn't put any noxious gas out. There's less maintenance with the solar generator, and it is extremely well made. This is how you go stealth mode. This can be used if it's not SHTF. It can be used for rolling blackouts, earthquakes, for storms, for anything else. But on top of that, you can actually just use this for fun. A lot of people have been taking them camping. They've been taking them, of course, with them to work to power their drills where they can't get an outlet. It's a really great system. Go to marfooglenews.com/energy, upwards of $170 off per for certain packages. So make sure to go check out all the deals. Use the code Marfoogle to get the discount. That will also help us at the same time. Remember, these actually have a waiting list because lithium is being fought over by world countries right now. So lithium in particular is in extreme high demand and in low supply. So there may be a wait period. It is not as long as it was at the beginning of the year. Some waited 6 months to get this generator. That is how coveted this thing is. But if, again, that waiting list is not that long now, so make sure to get it while you can. All right, marfooglenews.com/energy. Remember, use the code Marfoogle. All right, let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have 11, Pagan 11. What is going on? Pagan, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Adam. How are you doing, hon?
I am doing good. So what is happening here?
So whenever I sent out that tweet to you the other, day before yesterday about California's, quote, energy crisis.
Yes, about the alert. Go ahead. Just to clarify, the EAS alert that went out to California, Pagan sent us that first about 5 minutes after it was sent out. That alert essentially told people that they wanted everybody to turn off things until 9 p.m. because they were basically saying the grid is so strained, we're most likely going to have rolling blackouts. So this is an update to that. Go ahead, Pagan.
Yeah, so as of yesterday and today, I guess it would be 2 hours that they added to it, that they are now wanting us to shut off our power from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. That there's supposedly such a huge strain on our, quote, power grid. But I have 2 brothers that work in the solar world, and one of them is pretty high up there to where he travels internationally and he makes business deals and whatnot. I can't tell you all what company he works for, but he had the insider information to this blackout. And if my son would have given me the information on time, I would have had this about a week and a half prior to these flex alerts going out. That they're saying that there's, quote, an energy crisis. It's not an energy crisis. They're trying to push everybody off over into solar. For what reasons, you know, we can all sit here and speculate, you know, and whatnot. And he is in the process of trying to get me that solid information that I can hand to you and email it to you or whatnot, that goes to as to why they're pushing everybody to solar here in California.
Well, and because a lot of people,
I thought it was interesting.
A lot of people will not want to do solar. You know, the thing is you know, if they're pushing everybody to lithium when there's already a hard enough time getting lithium. We just read the other day that they want basically 50% of all vehicle sales to be electric vehicles by 2035. And one of the lithium companies came out and said, this is not going to work like they think it is. This is going to be extremely strained. It's going to be extremely hard to do, and we won't make it by then. There's no chance. But he said we're going to try to do it, whatever we can do to do it. So they're basing it, and they're trying to get everybody switched over to a material and a thing, which is funny because people could just turn that off. Think about it. If it's electric and it becomes this new kind of grid, this new fangled, now everything is solar. I wonder if they'll have control to be able to turn off any of this, or to take power back, or to suck up that power for something else, or you're completely putting your reliance on one energy. And we've seen places like Texas go through absolute hell because they did that. So that is wouldn't surprise me, to say the least. So as far as the power, they're telling you to not use it from 3 p.m. to when?
To 10 p.m. And that's what it is they're trying to make it look like there's this crisis or this situation with the electricity, but it's not. It's all just a big push to get us dependent upon these foreign materials that we need. And it puts us at the mercy, like you said, that they can just switch us off. And it's all about, in my opinion, I think it's all about how they're wanting to get everybody into these smart cities and get everybody into these certain areas. And, certain humans aren't allowed over here and humans aren't allowed here. You have to be here. And if you're in this area, it's easier to control things. And I think that's what the big push here in California is all about, just with the whole energy thing. So time will tell, and as soon as I get my hand on those papers, I will definitely be emailing them.
Well, I want to point out, do you know the saying, in the future you will own nothing and be happy? That is another thing I want to point to. The Mark Zuckerberg thing is he's talking about a technology that's already here and they're already working on, and they're going to just absolutely push out there and make sure that everybody gets it. They're going to get VR and AR into everybody's hands, and everybody's like, no, it's not really taking off like they thought it would. It is the next technology because of how good it's going to be. This is the next thing. And he said that most things we actually don't need to have a physical representation of. One example is, say, any kind of collectible. So say in your house you are looking at AR, just like how people have their VR kind of homes and they decorate with now everything is pay to play. All of these phone games where you basically pay money to just decorate your character or to decorate your video game home. That is going to be the future, where you have these hologram goggles, and things like, say, art will just be a hologram of art on your wall. You won't actually have something physical. This is something that people just don't even think is right here on the edge, but it is. And this whole thing with the smart cities and everything else, it all fits together.
Yeah, what was that one Disney movie? What was it, WALL-E?
Yeah.
Where everybody was, floating in space, and they were these just obese people that had these VR goggles, and that you just pushed a button and magically whatever it was you wanted to eat just appeared, and it was somehow food, and everybody was happy. And floating around, and no exercise, no nothing, and it looks it's looking a little suspicious.
Well, not only that, they've started that too, where they are using 3D printers to print chicken nuggets. We covered that over a year ago. So they make a paste, and then the actual 3D printer cooks it because it heats up, and it prints it at the same time. So it prints and lasers it at the same time. So as it's printing this paste, another laser is cooking it. So what it ends up doing is it ends up printing a chicken nugget. This is the future of food. Yes, and it's going to be with beef as well. Beef in the future, they're telling us it's not like, this may happen. The president President B said, by 2030, 8-ounce, there will be things like an 8-ounce limit per month of steak. There's goals they want to hit to where a steak will be hundreds of dollars, possibly like a bottle of champagne that you do on a special occasion. Or, again, that we're limited to that much meat per month. Everything else would be fake meat. And this is just in time for Thanksgiving. This is why I was talking about it. And there already are articles. We will talk about that probably in the next couple of days. But there's already articles saying that they're pushing this fake meat again. And that's exactly what we said was going to happen. It happened last year and the year before. It's crazy stuff.
There's no way. There's just no way. Sorry. I'm not doing the whole 3D printed chicken nuggets or beef steak for that matter.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But hey, we say this. Watch, they're going to make something that is 1/4 of the cost. We end up trying it and it tastes good. And guess what? If you are, think about it. If it's a choice between buying a chicken breast and this new substitute, and the chicken breast is $120 in the future, and the substitute is $2, which are people realistically going to buy? They're going to buy the McDonald's version of whatever it is.
Very, very true. But as long as I have the ability and the utensils to go unalive my meal, I will go do that before I eat some tasty nuggets.
Well, they'll probably pass laws that you can't have your own meals running around your yard. It seems like some states are already doing that, where you can't have your own chickens or your pigs or your horses or your cows. Well, Pagan, thank you for calling in about this. This is definitely a very concerning thing for California and other places. There's more rolling blackouts. Over this last summer, there was more rolling blackouts than there were the previous year, and in more diverse places, in places that they've never actually had rolling blackouts. So this is probably going to get worse. So people should prepare.
Yep. All right, Adam, you guys have a good night and take care of yourselves.
All right. Well, thank you, 11 Pagan 11. If you guys haven't, again, her information will be over on the website, marfooglenews.com. And then Danish Girl, thank you so much for your support. It says, hi, guys. This content is so informative. We need it. Thank you, Danish Girl. I super appreciate that. And thank you for sticking around. Thank you for making it every show. I appreciate it. I see you pop in. You always try to make it before the end of the show. I really do appreciate that. Shanjak says, count the number of days since 10/28/2017. The number is 1776. How did you figure that out? Did you see that somewhere? Oh, I guess I don't just, go, hey, that date, and then count the days. So what is 7? Is that today, or is that a day in the future? Sean Jock, thank you for the comment. And Misery Prepper, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. It looks like you may have a channel, so I will make sure to try to check it out. Happy Traveler, thank you for subscribing as well. Welcome to the Mafia. C. McClellan, thank you for subscribing. Unique Approach, thank you for subscribing 32 minutes ago. Lone Wolf, thank you for subscribing. And C. Willie, thank you for subscribing. All right. And then going back, UN says credible accusations that UKR children are forcibly being moved to Vlad's country. Dex, do you actually want to cover this? So this is something that we talked about just recently.
Yeah, so there's what goes along with this report is also news that is saying that a lot of UKR citizens are being moved into Vlad's country. And we've talked about that just in the sense that a lot of people were moving on their own. But now what they're saying is there's a lot of people that are being forced to move. And they're, I don't want to use the term rounded up, but at least that's what they're sort of suggesting is like they're being, gathered up and being forced to move. But what's more specific in that message that's come out is what the UN is saying is they actually have accusations that their children involved. And, whether it's children as part of a family being moved, or in some cases they're saying, individual children being taken and moved into Vlad's country. And they're using data and information like, I guess scanning bioinformation, fingerprints, et cetera, but also, looking at cell phone records and things like that to determine that these people have moved, or they've physically moved from one place to another, and that all this is happening. So they've got some information, some validation on it, and it's, but at the same time, we have to sort of take this stuff with a grain of salt. So it's not the kind of news you'd want to hear. It's very, anything dealing with families and children, especially when it comes to conflict time like this, it's not something that, these are the people that have to actually suffer through this. And, this kind of stuff can be very frustrating for families, frustrating for the children that have to deal with the non-peacetime that they seem to be going through there.
Yeah, you don't hear many people talking about the children that are involved. I did try to correct it the other day. I said that UKR had a population of 10 million. I don't know where I got that from, but that same show, I actually popped up the population is 40 million people. So think about how many of those people are children. I would believe it's probably a pretty big percentage of it. Think about what they have to go through. Think about, a lot of people think they have it hard, but think about if your apartment building blew up over some BS conflict. And then Taiwan needs weapons for day one of a Xi invasion. The U.S.-led response to Vlad's war of aggression in UKR has been impressive in both scale and speed, but it's not a model for a similar intervention in Taiwan. Several factors, most critically geography, would preclude an after-the-fact flurry of military aid for Taipei in the event of an invasion. This is exactly what we were talking about. They cannot it can't happen and then we come over. In fact, if they invade during the night or something and our ships are nowhere close, which is why we point out that if our Navy is placed there, that's significant, because at any given time they need to be there if they're at all going to respond whatsoever, because if they're here, they won't get there in time to prevent anything. And who knows, maybe there'll be a setup where everybody comes back for a couple days and that's when it goes down. Who knows? But basically, they would have to have everything in place beforehand. They can't be sent $1 billion later, this or that, because Taiwan is only about 100 miles off the coast of Xi's country. Xi has much more right there ready to go. And of course, we saw over the last couple of weeks, there was videos of tanks and everything lined up along ports. And it's like, are they just drilling? Is that the drill for the real thing? They said, of course, a lot of those the videos and pictures, they said that was because they closed down the banks. Again, why did they even close down the banks? They gave one reason, the other. Were they actually gathering a bunch of money and using it for something? They've told people, like, your money is ours now. We're using it for something. We'll give it back to you later. Like, all sorts of weird stuff. They didn't say that. Of course, they just cut off people's access to their banks. And then when people protested, they put tanks in the street. I more think, in my opinion, that those tanks were a drill for when they actually move all of this stuff. But that's just my opinion. If I'm totally wrong, then let me know why. But this, again, they would need it. But right now, structural factors in both the United States and Taiwan include strategic priorities, budgets, and acquisition limitations are preventing Taipei from laying in the critical war reserve material it would need to prevail against a Xi invasion. Taiwan would likely need to have to fight with whatever weapons it had on the first day of a conflict with Xi. Unlike Vlad's war in UKR, which came as a surprise even to the Vladian troops fighting in it. And by the way, I just want to pick that apart. People were surprised by this. You guys weren't. We saw a year before they lined up 160,000 troops at the border. Like, come on. It was a surprise. Like, that's stupid. We told you it was going to happen a year before it did. So I guess we're geniuses here. Taiwan is arguably the primary focus of People's Liberation Army. Many of the weapons and plans developed by Xi's PLA over the several decades are geared towards precisely this challenge, dominating Taiwan while simultaneously countering a U.S.-led intervention. So they are planning not only to take them on, but to take us on. Seems kind of right up in our face, like we're going to have some sort of conflict. One vital lesson of the conflict in UKR is that modern warfare burns through advanced munitions at a rate that far outstrips normal production. By April 2022, the United States had delivered approximately 1/3 of its own Javelin missile inventory to UKR. First of all, people should have a problem with that. We have other enemies that possibly are way bigger fish to fry, and we're sending 1/3 of our weapons, a certain type, the Javelin missiles, to UKR. Why again? Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to save everybody? They weren't even part of NATO. They weren't, because they've given you this whole thing, right? By the way, you need to look into everything that's gone on in UKR way before this. Look at everything that's happened, the transitions, the power that's been handed over, all sorts of things. Dex.
You know, what's worse is it's not just 1/3, right? It's the time it takes to replace that 1/3 would have normally been 3 to 4 years, right? But it's not normal anymore, so it's even longer because of everything that's going on. So how long does it really take us to replace 1/3 of our entire Javelin inventory? And we gave it all away.
What is wrong with us? Manic Cam said, did the Queen die? Yes. Elizabeth II perished. If you do rewind to the beginning of the show, we did cover that. In fact, she perished, and it was announced this morning. Queen Elizabeth II is no longer, and Prince Charles, is now King Charles. Stephen McMahon says, Japan's Navy will respond immediately if Taiwan falls. Japan is next. Stephen McMahon, you are absolutely right. So Japan is actually going to be a huge part of this next conflict. Japan believes that if they take Taiwan, that they will take them next. They have said it publicly. That's why, it's at least publicly partly why Shinzo Abe, before he was assassinated, but why he said that they needed to amend their constitution to change it to where they could respond, where they could actually go in militarily without being attacked. They think that they need to go in beforehand. They know it is an issue and it's going to happen. That's their opinion of it. So Japan is going to be there with their Navy as well. That also means that everybody's going to be involved. And then before we move on to that, so with Taiwan, the Z-Day as like a D-Day kind of thing, it would involve amphibious ships crossing over them. They would essentially, what they say is they'll possibly go in first with air. They would hit strategic targets. Then they would go in with amphibious ships. Most of the plans that at least the war games have played out is that they would take some of the smaller islands first and then move up. Now there is a debate whether they would just hit it from 6 different points and just go in, everything blazing. So that would be it would be a D-Day type thing. One thing I want to point out is Taiwan is placing mines. They have got the approval, and we believe they've already placed mines, but that's not 100% confirmed. But what is 100% confirmed, they have done all of the legal jargon to place mines all around their island. They have also been handing out pamphlets to their citizens saying, this is where you need to go. If it breaks out, you need to go to the shelter. Here is instructions on how to defend yourself. If you have to grab, it even gives instructions on how to defend themselves with household items, how to turn things into weapons if need be. There's all sorts of things being said there. The military is essentially telling Taiwan, and by the way, most Taiwanese people, including American citizens there, It is business as usual, but there's a looming threat hanging over their heads. This would be unlike anything we have seen in our generation. This would be a conflict where an island is being taken over. This would be a extremely connected place. As we saw before, Taiwan actually had many of their online cameras go down. Dex, do you remember that? Taiwan actually had all of their webcams go down for a little bit, and they said it was because of a power plant or something that happened. Do you remember this just about a couple months ago?
Yeah, I don't remember the reason, but I do remember the cams going down.
They said it was because of a fire or something, but the webcams all went down. We think if this happened, there's webcams all over Taiwan, so we could just go to the internet and look at the webcams and see, oh my gosh, this is happening. But as with the UKR, we had webcams everybody was watching those webcams, by the way, for the first week, right? Every channel was covering it. They were playing the webcams nonstop, and we were just sitting there waiting for something to go boom. And then once it did, they would highlight that for 24 hours a day. With Taiwan, we've already seen that almost all their webcams went out, and I want to say that was a practice, and that's my opinion, that was practice. They knocked out webcams, they knocked out things so that seeing if they could or something. But I think most of it would get knocked out. They might even be hit with an EMP. Then they would go in with air, take out strategic points, defensive points, and anti-air, and then they would go in with amphibious ships. And I would say take a look at what Xi is doing, and if we see any kind of action with those civilian ferries that are now turned into drop ships, and look at their amphibious navy, what they are doing with those. I think that right before it happens, we will see them do a drill or an exercise where they gather all of their amphibious stuff. And I think that drill or exercise will then turn into the real thing. So that is what I'm looking for as far as when this will happen. And how we could tell before is hopefully we'll be able to see some weird things like webcams going off, especially even in Xi's country. They will turn them off when they're moving things around. They'll do all sorts of things. They even took down recently all the flight radar devices that were made and placed in and all around Xi's country. They removed those. They went and they scoured the country and they removed all of the devices that had anything to do with flight radar, and they said it was a security risk. So, because people were tracking the flights going all over just like as we do. We can just go to flight radar and see our planes and which plane is up there, and you see something, you go to flight radar. If you don't see it marked on there, you're like, that's military, or it says it's military, it will have no information, or it won't be marked at all, then you know it's like an actual thing going on. With them, they removed all of that. So they're setting up for something big. They are most definitely setting up for a future event. The timing, though, nobody knows. But right now, if you look at the rest of the world and what's going on, they would probably want to do it around some big distraction. So keep your heads peeled. Keep your mind working. Marv, please WD-40 your chair. Well, if I did, then it wouldn't be a part of my shoutro anymore. Schmitty Humwell, thank you. And I couldn't find any last night, actually. I did before. People complained about it, and that's when I WD-40'd it last time. Schmitty Humwell, thank you. Catskill, New York Prepper, thank you. Nana of Montana, drill and exercises are just an excuse to get everything staged and ready. Well, exactly. I mean, most of the time they are drills and exercises, but it's like every major event they have basically moved in. If you look throughout history, they also use it to stage an event. Just like before UKR happened, Vlad went in and put 100,000 troops. When they went in a year before this started, they put up all of these mobile hospitals, all of these mobile infrastructure things. They put all of their launchers and everything right on the border. And then last minute, they said, it was just a drill. It was just an exercise. And they said, don't worry, guys, we're moving our troops back. But they left all of the temporary infrastructure. They left all the hospital tents. They left all of the gear. They left all of the launchers. They left all of the mobile weapons. All of those were still on the border. So at that point, everybody's like, it sounds like they're setting up for what's coming next. That is what Xi is doing currently. That's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know. Thank you again, Catskill, New York Prepper, for subscribing. Welcome to the Mafia. And so, got to be a little careful on this. So, Canada, apparently 2 people. What happened is a pair of brothers ended up 10 people door to door, knocked on door to door, and took the lives of 10 people using a sharp object. That there's some weird stuff around this. So it says police are now investigating how the second suspect in the Canadian stabbings died. It says that Saskatchewan, the last suspect in a rampage that killed 10 and wounded 18 in Western Canada, has now perished following his capture. So after he was captured. It says, but how he perished after being taken into custody has prompted fresh investigations. One official said Miles Sanderson, 32, perished from self-inflicted injuries Wednesday after police forced the stolen car he was driving off a highway in Saskatchewan. Other officials declined to discuss how he perished. It says, I can't speak to the specific manner of death. That's what's going to be a part of the autopsy that will be conducted. It said Assistant Commissioner Rhonda Blackmore said. But it said the other suspect, Sanderson's 30-year-old brother, Damian Sanderson, was found perished on Monday near the scene of a knife attack inside and around the James Smith Cree First Nation Reserve early Sunday. Both men were residents of the Indigenous Reserve. So the brother was found, and now they're saying that it was possibly the main suspect that actually took his brother after. And then now the second guy perished. I don't know what is happening with Canada. Like, what is this? Is there a movement to remove sharp objects from the country or anything? I don't know. I don't know. We have a filter that kind of filters through. A lot of the big stuff comes through, but I don't know what's happening there locally in Canada. So I wonder what else is going around. Is there, bills being passed there, whatever else? This was a very strange event. I'm praying for the families involved. Apparently they were all as part of this Indigenous Reserve. Some of the public outcry and the press conferences had the family members talking about it. It was there's very weird circumstances. So we will continue to follow it. We'll see what they end up saying for the investigation. Anytime somebody perishes after they're arrested, it's kind of a big question. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. If you do not have short or long-term survival food, they have freeze-dried foods that can actually last up to 25 plus years. These are foods that essentially have all of the moisture removed and that are sealed, therefore can be stored for an extremely long time with almost all of the flavor kept inside. That is, again, a really great feature of freeze-dried foods. You just add water, cook it, and boom, you're back to life. This is a great thing because it actually has all sorts of different kits involved. You can get a 3-day kit if you just need something to throw in your backpack for 3 days worth of food. That would include 9 meals. Or you can actually get a 1-month kit, and you can even get a 3-month kit for $250 off right now. Again, it is the largest discount. They extended it. The sale was supposed to end last week. They have extended it now. We do not know how long that will continue, but it is, again, the largest discount since 2019. In fact, it was before CV where they did any discount this big. So, again, people ask, like, how much is it? It is normally $900 for a 3-month kit, is $250 off, so it is $650. When you divide that by 90 days, 90 times 3, you can do the math pretty easy. It's actually cheaper than most people are spending on their average day of food for one person. So again, this could be 3 months of food for one person or a month and a half for two. and so on. MarfoogleNews.com/prep. They have all sorts of other things there as well. They have the Alexa Pure Pro. When you go and do this, not only are you getting something that could save your life, that will be an insurance policy for you, but you're also helping an independent channel at the same time. We have basically gotten you a discount on something that you get to keep and hold, and they end up giving us a commission, which helps us. So thank you, everybody that does support us through any of our affiliates. I really do appreciate it. All right, and then Dex, let's get, let's see here. Murphy's Law. We've got Murphy's Law on the phone. And it looks like...
Adam, hello.
Murphy's Law, you're live.
Hi, Adam. Hey, God bless the Foo Fam. I always called you guys the Foo Fam. I love you. I've been like a long time subscriber, like from probably before 6 months. I remember watching you, like when you were in your break room and then your car, right? Dex, I love you. And all the mods, all the past mods, the present mods, I love you all. And I know there's a little bit of a delay, but hey, Adam, guess what? I'm in Washington State. So I've been up and down the East Coast. I've been traveling, and I know I got about 5 minutes. So let's just cut the short stuff. I want to go on to 11 Pagan 11. Okay, so she was talking about California and the blackouts. And what I'm saying is, somebody in the chat room put Pocketbook, right? It might have been Operation Pocketbook through 31st. And so when I clicked on that, I brought up something that called Operation Deep Freeze. So if anybody remembers what happened in Texas, okay, if you're going to Google it, you're not going to find it. I'll probably bring that up on my show and show you what Operation Deep Freeze. It was all about Texas. Okay, so it's not about a shortage of any electric, because you know what? Let me tell you about California. 40% of those people, they weren't born there. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. If they set 40% of those people back home where they belong, they wouldn't have an energy crisis. However, every state, every county, every city signed on to sustainable living, right? So there you go. If you use up too many carbon credits, you got off. You got 110 degrees. Sorry about your bad luck. You used your air conditioning way too long. Yeah, that's how that works out. Green New Deal, many, many years, was literally... The Green New Deal, literally many, many years ago, was supposed to cost $100 trillion. Guess who's paying for it? Us. So when you use up your carbon credits, like Texas did, you know, Texas actually called Potato Head and literally said, we need more power. And he said, yeah, you can't do that. So they wanted to open up the coal plants, blah, blah, blah. So 11 Pagan 11, hats off to you. And the other reason I called in was the poopy white-headed man out there in room. So I did a show today. Basically, it was rebel canning. I wanted to show people, if you're growing a garden, how to can stuff, right? And how to do it with just what you have in your kitchen. However, Drop is right next to me, and he ain't going to shut up, right? So he needs to go back in the chat room. Stop! I told you no. In any event, so...
Hey, Drop.
The whole thing Hi,
Okay, keep going though, Murphy.
Adam.
We're all listening.
Yeah. So, the poopy man with the white hat over there in Rome. Okay. So maybe some people didn't follow the 17th letter in the alphabet. And you know what? I didn't really. So, but I listened to a lot of stuff and I'm like, huh. And it's just like, it's in the back of my head. So, a big marker was the Queen dying. Okay, that was way before anything. But the other thing, I'm sorry, that's the rooster. We got 26 chickens. The other thing was basically the October surprise. And whether you followed the 17th, letter in the alphabet or not, that's fine. However, I'm like a computer in my brain. I'm a tech-tard, but I store information. So the whole thing was basically, when you look at the poopy man with the white hat over there in Rome, so he literally made a speech. So I did a live video to show people about rebel canning. And you know what, guys? You don't have to go there. I don't want the views. I'm not monetized. So that's why I get away with a lot of stuff, right? And I know, Adam, you said get monetized. I never did. So I get away with more stuff. They spank me. Sometimes I get suspended. I've been in the bad girl corner. However, here's what I got to say to you guys. The poopy man with the white hat literally said to y'all, tomorrow we are going to observe the WW2. But today we'll remember WW3. So this is the only person with any authority, whatever. When I did that canning show, I brought up a lot of information on the Poop Man, which would be, that white hat dude. And so I brought up some history and this, that, and the other. So the only person with authority said, we will remember today on the WW, right? So what I'm saying is, what was it, like a week later, he called in all the assets, all the art, all the gold, all the silver, all the money. And it's supposed to be there within 30 days. I thought it was September 30th. It might be October 1st. And anybody that even looked at anything of the 17th letter of the alphabet would see there was an October surprise. I do believe, in my opinion, I could be wrong. In my opinion, the October surprise is coming really, really fast. You would not call in all the money, all the gold, all the art, unless something really, really screwed up is going to happen. One, the markets might dive, crash, whatever. Two, there might be another WW. And, or, look at Europe. Europe is, what are they paying? $11,000 for the electric. These people can't pay this. You're going to have like 6 to 10 families living in one room. Hopefully it's a big room, just to keep warm. And okay, maybe some parts of Europe don't get all that cold. Maybe they don't. However, if you dip below 30 degrees, your pipes are going to burst. Look at what happened to Texas. And Texas, if you actually can find it, if you're on Google, you're not going to find it. If you're on like Brave or another browsers, you will find Operation Deep Freeze, right? So people naturally, when there's no food and they can't afford all that, they're going to rebel. And if you think it can't happen here in America, it will. It absolutely will. You know why? Because the whole Green Deal, it was mentioned many, many years ago. That was going to be $100 trillion. So what are we getting out of it? I don't know.
Right now we're at 30 trillion in the hole. Yeah, we're 30 trillion in the hole right now. So if it's $100 trillion, that would be 130 trillion. I did want to let you know that we are actually running out of time for the entire show. So Murphy's Law, I just was hoping I didn't want to interrupt you there.
There's always a delay. Much love, Foo Fam. And I don't know, Lisa or Hall, you know my link. You know where I am. I go over the old poopy white-hatted guy in Rome. And, guys, buckle up, buttercups. Stuff is about to really get rough. I can show you how to can. I can show you so much stuff. Much love. God bless. I love you all. Hey, Marf. Oh, Adam. Please say Marf out.
Marf out. Well, thank you. Murphy's Law. Again, Murphy's Law, thank you. And she brought up a really great point. When Pope said that was really, really creepy. Not only said, basically, that was talking to the Polish and basically on an anniversary of WW2 and said, tomorrow we'll remember that. Today, we are witnessing the beginning of WW3. And that was just 2 days after pulling all the gold, all the money, everything back to the main church bank. Very creepy stuff there. So we've talked about this, and people shouldn't forget that. People are just going to go in the present. People are always in the present, but they forget that this happened. We didn't, just roll over that speed bump. So, but yeah, that was Murphy's Law. Again, she has her own channel. As always, her opinions are as hers. Make sure to go over and check out her channel. It will be linked in the website under caller info. All right. And then Dex, we are a little bit low on it, so if we can, I do want to say thank you, though. Nana of Montana, again, thank you. And, of course, Danish Girl, thank you. Manicam, Stephen McMahon, Shan Jack, Schmitty, thank you. Dex, if you want to go over the web-only content.
Absolutely. And Adam, if you'll refresh that webpage, they'll have all the information there, including the callers. Everyone can see that. So head over to marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for today's show. Or if you're on YouTube, open that description and click on show notes. I get a lot of people that say, where's this channel? Where's this person? It's always here. So when you go there, you will see all the caller information. It's at the very bottom. You're going to see all the news we just covered, and then you're going to see the overflow section. So take a look at what's going on in overflow. This is where all the other stories that are happening, lots going on here. We've got a ton of updates from the T-Man stuff, because that's just, again, like I said, I'll tell you every day, they're going to keep pumping this every day, especially as we move in to the times that are happening later in the fall. This is going to be top front and center. So all of that information is there. There's some updates on and there's a lot, apparently.
And Dex, before you go fully into the updates, I wanted to make sure that everybody knows, again, all of the mods and, of course, Dex and myself are ordering the update of Chance Paladin's book. It is available. The actual link is right there on the overflow. And the book, The Bunker Codes, A Beginner's Guide to Bunkers, it's actually, again, really great book. Make sure to go check it out. Chance Paladin is our mod and also an author. Make sure to support the independent free thinkers here. So make sure to go over and check that out. Again, if you are interested whatsoever, make sure to go over to the website, click on that, and it will bring you to his book, The Bunker Codes. The full description will be on the Amazon link, so make sure to go over there. and Dex. So sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure we got that out of there.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to make sure people. It's a good thing you made sure people knew about that. Yeah, we're all excited about getting our copies. So some people have gotten them already, and others are still waiting. So, So anyway, all the T-Man stuff is there. There's some updates on Twitter and a $7 million payment to pay the whistleblower going on there. There's some other stuff happening in Vegas with a politician and with somebody that's was unalived, if we want to call it that. And lots of other news, including Iger is in the news, and he's claiming that the TV is going to be gone. The traditional TV will be gone. He's predicting that. So lots of other stuff happening. This is where it's all at. So definitely go to the website. If you don't go to the website, you're missing out. Like, you get a lot from what we talk about. You get a lot from what the callers tell you about. You get a lot from chat and from comments, but there's also a lot more that's over on the website. Go to marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for today's show. If you missed it yesterday, click yesterday's show thumbnail and go read the same thing. You'll see all of the information from yesterday. Anytime we have callers, they're all right here. So again, on YouTube, open the description, click on the show notes link. It is so easy.
All right, well, thank you, Dex, and thank you, everybody over on D-Live. I appreciate everybody that jumped in. Release the Quacken, Alia Altrades, I think I said that right. Vicky K. Gifted, Raging Boomer, Gem, Vault11, thank you for hosting. We have It's J562, The Unreal Steve Martin, and I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, thank you for, again, being here. And then Yobi, Deep State of Mind, Skyhouse, and everybody else that popped in tonight. Thank you. Amy R. and one other are celebrating sub-anniversaries. Miss you, Amy R. I hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for, again, being there. All right, let's see here. Thank you, everybody, for making it to today's show. All of the information is available over on marfooglenews.com. Thank you, everybody. Nana of Montana, Danish Girl, thank you. Stephen McMahon, Manic Cam, Schmitty Hamill, Shanjock, Deanna Grimez, Stephen McMahon, of course, Carol McLean, thank you, and thank you. You guys, we are now going to be going over to Marfoogle Jams here in just a second. If you do not know, there is a third channel where this video basically continues. The chat, you can go over and hang out with Foogle Fam over there. Thank you, guys. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? I'm the guy that your mother prefers. I'm the guy that's putting in work. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? Thank you, everybody that made it today. Nana of Montana, I appreciate you. Nana of Montana, 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 Nana of Montana. Nana Montana, Nana Montana, Nana Montana, Nana Montana, Nana Montana, Nana Montana. Big Fish, Tesla 474, Trinity. Make sure to go check out our video. My peeps, what's going on? Zen Wen, Tennessee Tactical, Dex J, America Fur, Jeff P, Bobby Sue, Robert Arias, Recalcitrant, West of the West. Yeah, the Conquest, Josh and the Randy, man. I found Waldo and Dan. Stealth mode in the perfectly imperfect. Everybody gotta get it now. Y'all, it's 2020. Hey, brother. A rib curl readiness and everybody, mother. Ah, Black Sheep and the Jeep 71. Miss Marv Crew, thy risen bumpy. Ha, bumpty wah, bumpty wah. Danish girl, I said Danish girl. 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 I'm the guy taking mother. I'm the guy that's putting in work. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? I'm the guy taking mother preferred. I'm the guy that's putting in work. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? I'm the guy. I'm taking putting in work. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Quit, you heard? I'm the guy taking mother preferred. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Quit, you heard? I'm the guy taking mother preferred. Stop. Casemiro and a servant and Shera. Everybody gonna get done here. Hey, with the Juby Joe, Bryant McCann and the Mr. Low. Crazy eyes on the Yoshi. Dale Val and the Bodie. Lisa R. Hall, Charlie Abercrombie. Everybody love ya, love ya, love ya. Everybody love. Everybody love. Everybody love. Love, man, yeah. I'm the guy that doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? I'm the guy taking mother preferred. I'm the guy that's putting in work. I'm doesn't know them words. Stop, give up, quit, you heard? Quit, you heard? Quit, you heard? Quit, you heard? Quit, you heard?